With us now on the Chaos TV sofa is Carol Brooking. Now, Carol is the Executive Director for Cascade Theatre, and Cascade do lots of amazing work with performing arts. And more recently, they've actually started an inclusive drama club in Falmouth. So I'm going to be speaking to Carol now and hopefully find out a little bit more about Cascade and the group. So Carol, thank you so much for joining us in the studio here today.
Very nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
No worries. So this is your first time at Chaos?
It is,
Isn't
indeed.
it?
It's amazing. Wonderful setup, if that's the right term. Setup sounds a bit loose, doesn't it? But yeah. Yes, it's his first time, but I'm very interested to be here and to learn more about you as well.
And vice versa. So obviously we're here today, we want to talk about Cascade. Can you tell us a little bit more about what it's all about?
Well, I established Cascade in 1995 as an educational theatre company.
Right.
And it was deliberately I've always been an actor, always been involved in theatre, and I've done different things in between times. And prior to setting up Cascade, I had founded the Cornwall AIDS Council, which I think is defunct now, because I was very bothered about the world of AIDS. So we're going back a long way. And on the committee of the Cornwall AIDS Council was the Director of Public Health at the time. And she said she thought it would be great to have a play about HIV and AIDS that we could take, in her words, kids on the street. So I thought, well, it's what I do. I've always acted, so let's go into a different side of theatre. Educational theatre is its own genre. And so I looked into it, worked out what we're going to do, and I established the company. And fairly early on, Kit Mayer joined me, he's our artistic director and has been ever since. And so we started out with a play about HIV and AIDS, which we did tour on the streets and youth clubs. And then gradually from there, we've sort of diversified and digressed. And about the second thing we did, I think, near enough, were workshops for people with people with autism, some of whom had Asperger's, and they were on social skills. So we're going back 20 years now. We were working with that client group to develop their social skills, and from there, lots of other projects developed. I mean, I don't know how long you want me to talk for, because we've done so many different things.
We will get onto those other projects, don't you worry.
And so we've done lots of different plays. Our plays are always issue-based. So we've done plays about HIV and AIDS, about domestic abuse, about safeguarding, about young carers, the environment, mental health issues, and we've also made some films. So we've been beavering away doing this over the last 21 years. Our films are used nationally, which we're very proud of, on issues like both safeguarding and mental health issues. And then, as well as that, because Cornwall is a small place, my big ethos is that we never step on anybody else's toes. Right. We've made sure that we've never taken any work that any other company does. But you won't ever see us in a village hall putting on a play. Right. We do things at conferences and to commission.
Or sort of private based almost.
Yes, I mean, we've done a lot of work for the Cornwall Council, we've done work for social services, we do a great deal of work for the NHS.
Fantastic.
So we have sort of our charitable side and our professional side. And then on the charitable side, we work with people who are disadvantaged in one way and another. We do a lot of work which we call emotional first aid for people with mild to moderate mental health problems or those with psychosis. We've also worked with female survivors of domestic abuse and carers, or anyone who's sort of having a bit of a hard time.
Yeah.
And we do big community projects, which are a whole different ballgame. And then I've been wanting for a long time to set up a club, a bit like the Chicken Shed. I don't know if you've heard of the Chicken Shed in London. It's a well-known drama club in London for people with, well, it's inclusive for sure, and I don't know exactly how inclusive it is. My understanding it's for people with learning disabilities, but I think they include everybody. Right. So our club that we've set up in Falmouth we're calling it a very inclusive club, and it's for anybody who wants to come along and play with a bit of drama. It's just
that.
I left them today laughing at some silly daft game we were playing.
I love that. We're going to get a bit more into your drama club a little bit later on, but I just think, so you said you started in 95. I mean, what an achievement that is. Here we are, 2021, and you are still thriving.
Yep.
You mentioned your original inspiration sort of came from the topic of AIDS and starting a play around that. What would you say, what else has inspired you? Like, obviously that was a main topic that originally got you going, but to start this business and to keep going, you must have been inspired by many things.
It's interesting, isn't it? The HIV and AIDS world I was already in. And once we'd done that play, we worked on the assumption, because we had a sort of steering committee drawn from the NHS, County Hall, Fire Service, there were a few other people there. And we assumed that we would go back to Cornwall Council and say, what would you like next? We've done this one, so what's your next issue? But sadly, there was no more funding. So that was a bit of a, oh my God, okay. It sort of came to a big full stop. But the next people who contacted us was somebody who knew a little bit, it was connected with AIDS, and it went from there to young carers. And we were asked to do a 10-minute piece in school assemblies to highlight the plight of young carers and to let them know a new service was set up. So that was the very beginning of the young carers service in Cornwall. And once we started researching young carers, we were really, I don't want to say blown away, but we were in a way. Oh my God, is this really what they're going through? This is just awful. So then we became great devotees of young carers. And then the next person came along and said, could we do a play about domestic abuse? And we started researching domestic abuse. And then we were totally absorbed by what people are going through who are on the receiving end of domestic abuse. And every topic we've done, we've become great total believers in that topic. And we've sort of over the years gone from one to the next. And Kit, I mean, I've always been an actor. Kit is an actor. And that's what we were intending to do. We were intending to act, but to discover that we can use acting to raise awareness about subjects and also to help people was just, it sounds a bit, I'm trying to think of words without sounding too drippy. It was just fabulous, a fabulous way to think, okay, we can use these skills to help people to raise awareness. We used to train doctors, we do train doctors and dentists with those plays. And to hear a doctor say about a young carers play, this will change my practice forever.
Wow.
Is all worth it. Yeah.
Funny enough, I was looking on your website a little bit earlier, and you've got a little section there where you had almost like a little testimonial from what people have said, some feedback, and it was just so positive, which I think is amazing. And have people said to you, sort of, obviously, a difference that it makes? You must get a lot of that sort of type of feedback, which is nice.
We do. It's wonderful. I don't think we've very rarely had any negative feedback. It's usually, if we have, it's because I've put my foot in it.
It's easily done.
I'm one of those people who speak before they think, and occasionally I do a bit of a gaffe. But no, we research our subject well. And Kit, well, we both, I mean, I know he is an incredibly caring person, and he's a brilliant researcher. He didn't realise that he was, but he discovered that he can research a massive topic and encapsulate a huge amount into a 10-minute short play.
Wow.
Because I mean, look, how did you manage to get all of that in there? You know, I don't really know how, but I did. So he writes all of our plays, but also he is a very kind person, and we both, when we're working, we're both quite funny as well. So a lot of our work is amusing. Even though our domestic abuse play, I don't think we managed to get anything funny into that one. But the Young Carers play, which turned into a film, has got an amusing scene in it as well. So we do try and bring humour into everything we do.
That's amazing, because a lot of training and awareness, it can be very full on and almost, I don't like using the word dull, but it can be. And the fact that you're trying to introduce humour and you do so much research because you want to get it right.
Yeah.
And that's so important. So, I think you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you, Ross.
I want to talk to you as well. We mentioned briefly earlier about the drama club.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about how the idea came about and who's it for?
It is for It's inclusive. We really struggled with the words of how to describe it. Now, I know of the Chicken Shed in London, and I've done a fair amount of research, and mostly I believe people that go to the Chicken Shed have a learning disability of some sort or other. But that's a label, isn't it?
Of course.
Right, so we try to avoid labels. So, and Alex, our relatively new PA, came up with this poster that does have somebody in a wheelchair in it. There's a couple of people and a person in a wheelchair.
Right.
So there's no reason why anybody with a physical disability or a learning disability can come. Mostly at the moment, it is people with learning disabilities. But again, I find that a struggle with the words. So it's the clients, they are our clients.
Of course.
It doesn't matter. If somebody just wants to come along on a Tuesday afternoon and do drama, welcome. It's done at a very playful level. I mean, this is only the third week this week. Okay, the first week we had 30 people there, a mix of support workers and clients. Last week was fewer. This week there's quite a lot there. I was about 20, 25 there. They were laughing as I left because they were doing something. What were they trying to do? They're turning themselves into a garden.
As you do.
As you do, yeah. We haven't yet said we will do performances because that puts a different complexion on it. It suddenly becomes work.
It becomes more pressurised then, doesn't it? And
yeah.
Almost, I can understand how you almost want people to come along, have fun, see how it goes without that pressure of,
Absolutely.
oh, we've got a deadline, we need to be ready for there. So do you have like an aim for the clubs and its future, or is it just see how it goes?
We may well, I mean, we've talked about putting on some sort of show at some stage, but I want it to be a permanent fixture. That is my aim. We have managed this year to get funding from the Claire Milne Trust, which is wonderful. Who's Winnie the Pooh Milne? I didn't realise that, but it's the Milne part is the author of Winnie the Pooh. I think it's his great-granddaughter's trust. So we've got funding for this year. The other thing is, I said not stepping on anybody else's toes. I know there is a dance company that does similar work, but I believe they focus on dance.
Right.
We want to just focus on drama, but we do have a musical director in our organisation, so we might be doing some music, but I don't think we would particularly be doing dance or movement. And I just want it to be a permanent feature that people can come along to. It'd be great if they come regularly, because it will make more sense.
Yeah.
But it is something people can dip in and out of if they want to. But the idea is today we were doing a bit of, everybody knows everybody's name and getting to work together, work in teams, work in different groups and things like that. So it's about, I tried to start writing up some ground rules, but it's a bit too serious. But so far we've got kind, fair, fun, and then one of the clients shouted out brilliant. So those are our ground rules.
What more could you want? I'm sold.
You can come anytime, any Tuesday, do turn up.
Any Tuesday. And obviously, we've talked about the goals for the drama club in the future. Cascade as a whole, have you got any sort of real ultimate goals of how you see the company progressing? I know you don't want to step on anybody else's toes, but you're in your own lane, you're doing your thing, so it's only going to get better from here, surely. Well,
I hope so. I mean, we have two tranches to our work. We are a registered charity, so we get a lot of charitable funding. And in the last 3 years, we have found somebody to help us with our funding, which is brilliant.
Great.
And we've been more successful than normal, or previously. So we've got our continuous work with people with mental health problems, which we call emotional first aid. I think I mentioned that. We have this work currently, and then we do a lot of the community projects we do are fabulous. They're very big affairs where we do reminiscence with older people, and then the children from the local school come and learn the stories of the older people, and then the children in the school put them together into a play.
Wow.
And that's from January to July normally, and at the end of the July term we have this big play, and everybody in the community comes in and helps make sets and props and costume, and we've done quite a lot of those, and they're brilliant. They're very filmic. I just wish we'd known you before, because they are beautifully filmic. We also have a play that we're touring as soon as we can to care homes, focused on people with memory loss or dementia. Again, that was a KIT-inspired one. It's a lot of people don't become non-verbal. Some people with dementia do become non-verbal, but this one doesn't feature many words. There's not a lot to understand, but my shoes are squeaking. It's colour and movement and songs, and it's called 4 Seasons, and they do something for each season, and it's sensory and interactive. So the audience, they're going to plant a seed in the springtime, and in the winter we haven't got snowballs, but we've got pretend snowballs. In the autumn they can rustle their hands through dried leaves. In the summer there's sand.
That's fantastic.
So, but at the moment we can't get into care homes because of the pandemic, which has been we've got fortunately the funders have been fine. Me keep writing to say can't get in, can we keep the money? We've got another project going on at the moment, training care staff on how to have really effective and meaningful reminiscence sessions with older people with dementia.
It's so important. Funny enough, I actually used to work in a care home.
Oh, did you?
And yeah, like that reminiscence therapy and things like that, it really does make people's days. And the sensory stuff that you said about, it's something so simple, but it's so effective and can have such an impact on them. So I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I want to have a little look now. We've got some photos. Hopefully you can talk us through, because we've been talking about how brilliant you are, but I want to see it. So hopefully we can see some pictures now and you can talk us through.
That's just him and me.
So is this
another
Kit,
bad hair day.
This is you and Kit, is
That's Kit and me, yeah. That was, he's our artistic director. We've both gone grey over the years from doing this work.
And I'm seeing the pink theme. Is this is to do with your logo, is it?
Yes, our logo is a lovely cascade, and it's pink and cerise. No, sorry, it's a sort of cerise and turquoise and blue. It's a beautiful logo. So our team wear turquoise or cerise when they're working.
I love that.
That was a play we toured with in schools about bullying. That was a few years ago now. We did a play and a workshop looking at bullying and how to deal with bullying, and it was, again, after the play it was interactive. We've done other things on bullying. We also have, because a play is quite expensive to commission,
right,
whereas a workshop is cheaper. So we also have workshops looking at cyberbullying, which we go in and do little sketches and so on. But that one is about bullying. That, I don't know if I should say this, but the young man on the right is Paul Dash of Dash News now. He's quite well known in a different region.
Claim to fame, hey?
Yeah. Then that was a project we did a couple of years ago with people with autism. It was funded by Learning Partnerships. The idea was about getting people back into work. So we called it Rehearsals for Work. And we did a series of drama workshops with them. It's from them, in a way. They contacted us. Some of them contacted us, and said, can't you do some more? Please do some more drama. Please do some more drama. Which really said, right, we're going to do it. Really are going to try and do it this time. And that time it ended up with a play. It was quite a funny play. It was sketches put together about the difficulties of trying to get a job.
Okay. It's all real life subjects and issues that people face, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. That's a script development. That is a group of older people in St Day with our brilliant costume designer and wardrobe mistress. She is amazing. That's our Hilary. We did a project. We've done a few projects in St Day, and at the risk of going on too long. We did a reminiscence project with the older people. And then the children came in to gather their stories, and they went back to the school with their stories. And the reminiscence people said, we don't want reminiscence to stop. It was such fun. Can't we do something else? So Hilary decided she would start getting them to do costume.
Right.
And that group, including 2 or 3 men, a couple of men anyway, they made a very good replica of the coronation robe, the great big purple robe the Queen wore at the coronation, with all the gold embroidery on it, which in our instance was actually gold paper, and a crown, which was just like the crown, and an amazing little story. While we were making the robe, is it a robe? Yeah, the purple thing. Hilary learnt how to make fake ermine, which is white fur with a felt-tip pen, apparently. One of the women was just chatting. She said, yeah, I put a stitch in the original coronation gown, you know.
No way.
What? What? Pat, what did you say? And she said, yeah, I lived in Windsor then. And at the time of the coronation, they took the robe round to local schools, and all the junior school children, or some, whatever, were invited to put a stitch or two into the gold embroidery in the robe. And she was one of the ones that had done a stitch.
Amazing.
Back in 52 in the coronation robe. And there she was, sticking bits of gold paper on purple velvet. But it was amazing. And then the older people, after they did that, they still didn't want to stop. So when they were doing the wardrobe, Hilary played music while they were making the crown and things like that, and these men learning how to sew. But it was sticky tape, really. She played music and they sang along. And then we said, why don't you be a choir? So in the final production, the children performed most of the stories. Some of the older people joined in the stories that had featured them. One of them, for example, had told us a story about being a telephonist. So she played the part of a telephonist while the children did the rest of it. And then the older people turned into what we called a rock choir. And we did rock and roll songs on stage.
I would love to see that. That sounds awesome.
It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Oh, fantastic. It just generally sounds like a fun time. And I mean, what more could you want? It's educational and it's fun.
Yeah.
And everyone enjoys what they do.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Fantastic. I think on an end note now, I want to give you the chance to let everyone know how they can find you. And so the drama club's on a Tuesday. Where are you guys based?
We're based in Truro, but the drama club is at the Dracaena Centre in Dracaena Avenue in Falmouth, where I'm from originally, so I'll get that in. Leanne, the lovely Leanne, and Kit are running the sessions. Leanne is she's an MA in drama community theatre. She's very good, and particularly good with people. So the sessions start at 1:30 until 3:30 in a room in the Dracaena Centre in Falmouth. The next one before Christmas is, what's the date?
We're sort of end of November now. But I
think there's two. No, 7th of December, I think, is the next one, and that is the last now before Christmas. Because of the funding, we can manage to keep going for a whole year if we do sort of term times. So we're breaking on the 7th for Christmas, partly because Kit and I aren't here on the 14th, and it's just we'll stop then. We're doing something else actually on the 14th, training other people.
A busy lady.
Yeah. And then we start again in January, and then we'll do it akin to term times. So we are publicising on Facebook, on Volunteer Cornwall. We'll publicise it anywhere anybody wants, where we can. Yeah. Once we have people's names, we're sending out emails letting them know what's happening and when it's happening. And the best thing, if you're interested at all, is to give us a ring. We've got a lovely, simple phone number. It's a Truro number, 01872 22 2216, which is a nice, easy number. We're not always there to answer the phone, but we always respond to messages. Or you can email us, and our email is a bit more complicated. It used to be so simple, and we had to create a new one. It's info@therealcascade.com. And The Real Cascade is all one word, and it's just spelt exactly like The Real Cascade.
Fantastic.
Or I imagine somebody could contact here, and you could pass it on to us.
Of course, yeah.
We just want as many people as possible. The more people we have, the more fun it will be.
Yeah.
I want as many people as possible just to come and enjoy it. And volunteers.
Oh, yes.
That's the other thing.
We do love our volunteers.
We do.
But Carol, thank you so much. You've been absolutely fantastic.
Thank you.
And hopefully, like you said, some of our watchers today will be interested, and we've shared all the details. So, yeah, and hopefully we'll have you back on again sometime soon.
Thank you very much, Ross.
No worries.
Thank you.
Back to the studio.